Today's lesson is on right triangle relationships. And when you're finished with this lesson, you'll be able to also determine the value of square roots. Based upon yesterday's lesson, we were able to take a look at side lengths of squares and create right triangles with them by finding and calculating the area of each. And so this is a problem that we worked with yesterday in our journals, where we can find the missing area simply by knowing that the area of the small square and the medium square has to equal the area of the large square. So I'm looking at 16 plus what number would give me 20? Well, that answer would be 4. So I know that the area of the small square has 4 square units. Second we do is understand, in order to get an area of a square, you have to take a side length times a side length. In order to get 16 units, we would need to find an area that would be the area of a square that is a 4 by 4, which means the side length of this particular side of the right triangle is 4 units. An area of a square that has 4 units squared would be a square that is a 2 by 2. So that way I can get the shortest side of the right triangle, which is 2 units. From here, how do we find what number times itself, would give you 20? This is more challenging because we do not have a number times itself that gives us 20. So what we want to do then is estimate about how long that hypotenuse would be, because if you remember correctly, the hypotenuse of any right triangle is the longest side opposite of the right angle. So I can estimate it by looking at perfect squares on either side of 20. So I know one perfect square, would be a 4 by 4, because that would have an area of 16, which is close to 20. I know that another square I can build is a 5 by 5. And I know that that square would have an area of 25. So in looking at numbers between 16 and 25, 20 is roughly 5 units away from 25, and it's 4 units away from 16, which makes 20 the square root of 20. I suppose I should put square roots here because the square root of 16 is 4. The square root of 25 is 5. So the square root of 20 is a little bit closer to 16 than it is to 25. But they're pretty close. Between 4 and 5, it's almost in the middle. So I wouldn't say exactly 4.5, but maybe just a slight bit under. So we're going to have a square that's roughly about 4.4 units by 4.4 units. So that tells me then the length of this hypotenuse is roughly 4.4 units. So this idea of not being able to always make perfect squares out of whole numbers occurs quite often. And it occurs in this particular question right here, where Tamara is trying to create a square with 24 tiles. And we know that I cannot make a perfect square with 24 tiles, because if I had a square with a dimension of 5 units this way, in order to make it a square, this would have to be 5 units this way, which means I would need 25 cubes. And I don't have 25 cubes, I have 24 cubes. So then what we have to do is shrink the square down. And so again, between what two whole numbers would the square root of 24 be? Because again, that area is what we're talking about. So if I know that the square root of 25, in other words, 25 cubes to create a square, I could make a square that is a 5 by 5. And I know that the square root of 24, then it's just very, very close to that. The next smallest perfect square I could create would be using 16 tiles, because that would create a 4 by 4 square. So when you look at where the square root of 24 is, right, with 24 tiles, we're really, really close to a 5 by 5 square that has 25 tiles in it to make it. So we could estimate that so that tomorrow would roughly need about somewhere between 4.8 and 4.9 by 4.9, which would give her roughly about 24 tiny squares. And you could use a calculator to check it out. You could take 4.8 times 4.8 and see how close to 24 you'd get, or you could go 4.9 times 4.9 and see how close to 24 you could get. When you take 4.8 times 4.8, you would get roughly 23 and a little bit. I think it's like 0.4, something like that. And when you take 4.9 by 4.9, you get 24.01-ish. So you can see here then that would, if I had 24 total tiles, which I have up here, I could make a square that's about 4.9 by 4.9 in dimension. So you've been hearing me use this term called perfect square. And a perfect square is a shape that has dimensions that are exactly the same as illustrated right here in this picture. Okay, if I'm going to make a perfect square, both dimensions have to be identical in length. And so to find the area of a square, we multiply it by itself. So therefore, all the areas of squares are really considered to be perfect squares that have integers or whole numbers that relate to the sides. So what's the smallest perfect square I can build? I can build a 1 by 1. That would have an area of 1. So I could say 1 is a perfect square. The next perfect square I could build, which is a little bigger, would be a 2 by 2. And the area of that would be 4. So 4 would be considered a perfect square. And going on with my pattern, the next perfect square I could build would be a 3 by 3, which would have an area of 9. And we could continue and go on, okay? But basically what I'm trying to show here is that 1, 4, 9, those are perfect square numbers. The next perfect square number I could choose would be a 4 by 4 square for 16. A 5 by 5 would have 25. A 6 by 6 would have 36. And so 16, 25, 36 are also numbers that are considered to be perfect squares. So to estimate perfect squares, you can throw things on number lines. Number lines are a great way to compare order of different types of numbers. And so answering some of these questions, how would you determine the square root of 9 using a number line? Well, we know 9 is a perfect square because I can make a 3 by 3 square out of that, okay? Therefore, the number 3, okay, is a perfect square because that's the square root of 9. How would I compare the square root of 36? Well, the square root of 36, that gives you a 6 by 6 square. So that would be somewhere right in here. Here's the square root of 36 because I know the square root of 36 is 6. So I can order a normal number line like I would, starting at 1, and I can count by ones, etc. Okay, and then I could list perfect squares above them. Okay, and these are called radical numbers. Okay, the square root of 9 is a radical number. The square root of 36 is a radical number because it has the radical symbol above it. And anytime you have this symbol right here, which we call the square root symbol, we also call it a radical. So 3 times 3 gives us 9. So that's how I can put the square root of 9 above 3. They're the same number. 6 times 6 is 36. So the square root of 36 goes back to 6. They are the same number on the number line. Okay. So how would we plot, where would the square root of 20 be? Well, we would have to take a look at, again, perfect square numbers. And I would know then that this, 4 times 4 would give us 16. So the square root of 16 would be 4. 5 by 5 is 25, so that's the square root of 25. So if I were trying to plot, hey, where's the square root of 20? That's going to lie somewhere between 16 and 25, which is going to be right here, somewhere in the close to the middle, because when you compare 20 to 16, we're 4 away, and we compare 20 to 25, we're 5 away. So I could say here that we're right around 4.4 as the square root of 20. How would you plot the square root of 83? Where would that go on the number line? You could press pause and try to figure it out, and then press play and see if you are correct in your answer. So the perfect squares that are closest to 83, okay, here I know that a 9 by 9 is 81, so the square root of 81 is 9. And 10 by 10 would be 100, so the square root of 100 is 10. So 83 is really close to 81, so the square root of 83 would be somewhere around here. So I could say that that would be then right around 9.2 if I was trying to plot where the square root of 83 would happen on a number line. Somewhere between 9 and 10, but very, very close, much closer to 9 than it is 10, because 83 is 2 away from 81, but 83 is 7 away from 100. So to finish up, you can go to the closure on page 44 and answer the questions that you see here. What is a square root? Okay, well, a square root is any number that has a radical symbol above it. So that's the square root symbol. Okay, we also call it a radical. Okay, and we're basically finding what number times itself, okay, would give you the perfect square. How can you estimate a square root? Well, find perfect squares on either side of your number, and then you can find that number in the middle. So if I, again, wanted to find what would be the square root of 78. Well, I'm looking on a number line. I know that the square root of 81 is 9, and the square root of 64 is 8. And when we look at 78, where the square root of 78 would be located, it would be somewhere in between 64 and 81. 78 is 3 away from 81, and much farther away from the square root of 64, which would be 14 away. So you can see here that we're much closer to 9 than we are 8. So if I wanted to plot where would the square root of 78 be, it'd probably be somewhere in here, like so. Another thing I consider is what's exactly right in the middle. Okay, well, right in the middle of the square root of 81 and the square root of 64, the middle number there is right around the square root of 72, which now 78 is 6 away here, and 78 is 4 away here. So here would be 8.5 in the middle, and then about halfway in between that, because here we are 6 away, and here we are 4 away. So it's right around, going to be somewhere around 8.8-ish would be the square root of 78. So today's lesson, you're going to work in your R&Ps. Lastly here, I want you to go to page 45 and 47, and I want you to work through these 4 problems, 776, 777, 778, and 779.